I, Sushma, Sergeant at Arms, welcome you all for the meeting number of 612 of Speech Weavers Toastmasters Club Bangalore. I hope you all are doing fine. To succeed in life, we all must have a mission. Like those individual mission, our club has a collective mission. To succeed as a group, we all must know what is our club mission statement. Toastmasters Club mission is to provide supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Toastmasters have helped several people from diverse backgrounds to become more confident communicators and leaders. Before we start meeting, we have three ground rules which we follow in all Toastmasters meeting. Please do not talk about religion, sex, and politics. If you are not speaking, keep your audio microphone muted at all time. Keep your video on at all time for better experience unless you are moving in and around moving in and around out of the room. As an encouragement to all the role takers and speakers, make sure to upload them virtually. It's time to invite. It's time to introduce our president, Toastmaster Deepa, who is charismatic, energetic, and active. Deepa is one of the most active and avid Toastmasters around. She has completed her ACG ALB from the traditional educational format. Currently, she is pursuing two paths simultaneously from Pathways. Currently, she is coaching a corporate club, Bridge I2I, handling public relations for Division B, and also mentoring 6 Toastmasters at our club and Bridge I2I. She strongly believes that Toastmasters is the place to find your voice, confidence, and transform to your best form. Please join your hands together to welcome for the President Address Toastmaster Deepa. Over to President Toastmasters Deepa.
Thank you, Sushma, for that wonderful welcome. Good evening, everybody at Speech Weavers, guests for joining us, and important dignitaries that I see. We have club coach, chair Mazahir Hussain. A special welcome to you. And I see, yes, the rest of us. So glad to see you all. And you can see that today's theme is sports and fitness. And when Adarsh told me, I'm mentoring Adarsh, and Adarsh told me that's going to be the theme for this week. And he also asked me, I need an introduction and I want something about you and fitness and sports. Absolutely nothing to tell him. Guess what I did? I picked up some dusty dumbbells in my house, 2 kgs each, and I started doing dumbbell exercises every day for around 4 days. And then I felt, okay, this is not enough. Let me try and flaunt something. Let me add to the introduction. And so I started even trying pranayama for the first time. And believe it or not, I just couldn't get the diaphragmatic breathing. My stomach wasn't moving forward when they were telling me. So I think I will need at least a month's practice of pranayama to get my stomach to breathe in and out as they told. So this is what Toastmasters is about, exchange of ideas. You meet different people, you learn about varied subjects, something you're not into, but perhaps you'll get deeper into. You'll meet people who will get you into it. So thanks, Adarsh, for bringing this theme and getting me back into exercising. Hopefully I don't vanish because I always am scared. I'm just 47 kgs for 5'5". I hope I don't vanish away doing all these. Anyway, now let's move on to the next part of the segment. We have somebody called the Joke Master who's going to tickle our funny bones. And just reduce him, so I have to do it in an innovative way. So I told him, Vinu, can you give me something that none of our club about you? And this is what he said. About sports and fitness, yes, I can give something on that. And he said, Deepa, you know what? I've reduced my weight 2 times. First time, I was 100 kilos. Then I reduced to 84. The second time, I reached almost 110 kgs and reduced to 78. Now, my weight is 114. Please welcome on your virtual screen our joke master for today, Vinu Karthik.
Thank you, Deepa. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. When I started my professional journey, I went to Bangalore. So I remember my father advised me avoid talking to negative people. Again, last year he gave me a call and he said, avoid talking to positive people. And now he said, please avoid talking to people itself. I was surprised. Might be in future he might tell me that please stop talking itself. And one of my manager told me look into an issue, and he left for the day. So I started looking into the issue. Next day he came back and he questioned me, what is the status of the issue? I said the status is same. He questioned me why. I replied, as you said, I was only looking into the issue. I never worked on that. When my son was 2 years old, I started recording his voice. By seeing that, my wife was surprised and he came to me and said, you love your son very much. Just you want to share this memory to him once he grows up. That's why you are recording, right? Immediately I responded, no, I was not recording for that reason. Whatever he spoke to me, I never understood. That is why I'm recording. Once he grows up, I will ask him what he spoke on that day. And my manager assigns me, now I'm working from home, so my manager assigns me more work. He thinks that I'm working from home, I can do more work. At the same time, my wife also assigns me more work as she assumes that I am working for home. I went to a bank last week to deposit the money because I trust the bankers. But the bank people, they never trust their customers. Why? I observed they tied a pen to a thread, assuming that their customers will take it out. We are trusting and uh, putting our money in the bank. One more thing surprised me. Every time I see protests, farmers doing harvesting tomatoes protest because there is no price for them. They will throw all their tomatoes on the road. And the milkmans, if there is no proper price for the milk, they will pour all the milk on the road. But always I surprise, even bank people will also do the strike. I never ever saw even a single note was thrown on the road. My wife asked me to bring fruits in the last festival. I went to the market. She asked me to bring 15 fruits. I went to the market and I brought one apple, one pineapple, one watermelon, and 12 bananas. And I gave it to her. She started scolding me. I asked why. She said, I asked you to bring 15 different fruits. And during this lockdown, I put up my weight. So my wife suggested me to join a fat burning program. I was also motivated and I joined the club. After 6 months, I realized that I didn't join the fat burning program. I joined the fat earning program because never ever they discussed about exercise and fitness. Always they were talking about eating. Before I was not liking the food cooked by I was not liking the food cooked by my mom and my wife. even though it is very good. This was before lockdown. Now, however worse they cook, I need to say it tastes like Shadi ki biryani. Lockdown effect. I request all our members and guests to laugh at least 1 hour per day, so that it will reduce your stress, and also there will be more benefits for your health. During this lockdown, you always listen to the negative news, so avoid them, and always at least minimum allocate some time for your humor, and you just uh, listen to some jokes or watch some funny movies. By this, I will conclude my joke master role. Over to you, President Toastmaster Deepa.
Thank you, Vinu. Wonderful jokes there. You always bring in stories of your fat burning issue, your wife, your son, wonderfully stitched jokes. Now it's time to introduce the main person of the meeting, the toast master of the day. And this person is trying this for the first time because he joined Toastmasters quite recently. Now, that is none other than our Toastmaster, Adarsh. Adarsh is working as a consultant for Sea Profit Wealth Management Private Limited, and is the director of a fintech company called Deep Pockets Technologies Private Limited. A passionate football fan who loves to play, watch, and write about the game. And he says he's very much into sports and fitness, which is why he chose the theme. No, there's no question about that. He said he enjoyed gymming, but took a break a couple of years ago, but then he decided to come back. Please welcome on your watcher screen with a big round of applause our Toastmaster of the day, Adarsh Krishna.
A very warm welcome to all Toastmasters and guests to meeting number 612. I'm Adarsh Krishna, and I'll be your Toastmaster for the day. So, as for today's theme, you must have already heard it. The theme of the day is sports and fitness, the difference maker. So, why do I call it the difference maker? I believe that sports and fitness is a difference maker in every sense of the word. For athletes, sports and fitness can help them carve a career for themselves by leaving a legacy behind for the future generations to inherit. It can take them from the streets to the brink of glory. Take the example of a footballer by the name Romelu Lukaku that plays for an Italian football club called Inter Milan, also known as Internazionale. It's a wonderful football club that he's a part of at the moment, and he's one of the best strikers in the world. But it wasn't always the same. He went through a lot of difficulties in his life, and there was a time where his mom and dad had to flee Congo, Africa. And they fled Congo to go all the way to Belgium because of all the issues that they faced. They were in poverty, they were in an impoverished area, and they managed to move to a much better area. But things weren't any different. Romelu Lukaku faced a lot of racism. He was criticized for how big he was. He was criticized for being too big for his age. A lot of parents during his training sessions and football matches often inquired how old he actually was. And that's the reason why his parents were forced to carry his ID card each and every single day of his life. They displayed the ID card in front of all the parents to prove that he was actually just 15 years old. And that's the sort of difficulties that he went through, but he still went on to become one of the greatest players football has ever seen. And he's one of the best strikers in the world right now. He has played for a lot of great clubs, including Anderlecht, Chelsea, Everton, Manchester United, and now he plays for Inter Milan, who recently won the Italian League Championship. Now, we already know what it can do to the life of an aspiring athlete, but what can it do? What can it do to people like us? What can it do to normal people like you and me? And to give you an example of what it can actually do to people like you and me, let me give you a glimpse of something that happened in my life. I went through a lot in my life in the last couple of years. There was this time where I felt hopeless because I was unable to clear my exams. And it was during this time when the first lockdown struck. I stepped up and I started playing a game that I love more than anything else. And this is something that came out of the blue. I wasn't expecting it whatsoever. I just looked towards my football, which was there in one side of my room. I picked it up and I went to the terrace of my house and I played football for the first time in years. And after the lockdown, I decided to go back to the gym. I went and I enjoyed gymming for the first time in a long time. And this is something that you people should know. Now, sports can actually give you a lot of things. And one of the things that it can give you is it can help you focus on your day-to-day tasks. It can provide a moment of reprieve when you're going through a lot of issues in your life. And I wanted to think about that one sport or fitness activity that you used to perform years ago. And I wanted to try doing that once again. I wanted to try to restore that in your system to see the difference. And I promise you'll definitely see some results. And by the way, you should remember that you'll never know until you try. And I'm going to end it with that. Now, moving on, for the benefit of all the guests, Toastmasters is an organization that was started by a person by the name Ralph C. Smedley during his time working for the YMCA in Bloomington, Illinois, United States. The organization aims to teach public speaking and leadership skills worldwide. The organization has members in excess of 364,000 people spread across 145 countries. There are over 16,200 clubs with at least 190 clubs in Bangalore alone. Since its inception, Toastmasters International has helped people of diverse backgrounds become confident speakers and leaders. Each meeting at Toastmasters is divided into 3 different parts, and they are prepared speech, table topics, and the evaluation round. As for the prepared speech session, a person will be given the opportunity to talk about a topic of their choosing based on their level and project for about 5 minutes at least. And as for the table topic session, a person will be provided a completely random topic to talk about for at least 2 minutes. And moving on to the evaluation round, where all the speeches and table topics will be evaluated by a set of highly skilled and talented and general evaluator for today. This man happens to be a distinguished Toastmaster. He's a passionate marathon runner who is a non-executive chairman and director at APM Impact India Private Limited. He fits the description of a person with charisma, energy, and smartness. He's none other than our distinguished Toastmaster, Milind Kolhatkar, our general evaluator for today. Please give a round of applause to our general evaluator for today, Milind Kolhatkar.
When the final whistle blows in a football match, you just saw a snippet of the chief coach of every football team. Whether it's the best club in the world or the best player, they have a coach. And he is the main person in every match. And that's what my today's role is. In today's session also, it's nothing but a match with excellent players. We have Ronaldo, we have Messi's, and whatnot. But even for them, after the match is over, what does the coach do? He calls them into the bench, and then they discuss what was great, what are the areas for improvement, and what should be the strategy for future. And I'm not alone. I have a team of assistant coaches which will help me. Especially, there are some star players in my team. Those are called as prepared speakers. For them, have a dedicated coaches for them. So they are there. And other assistant coaches. So one of the coach is called as timer. So may I call upon the timer for today, Toastmaster Akash, to highlight the importance of his role as a timer.
Good evening, dear Toastmasters and welcome guests. As the timer, my role is to remind each role takers and speakers to strictly adhere to the allotted time for you. To help you maintain with the timelines, I'll flash the following lights. Green light, when the speech reaches the minimum time according to your project or your speech role. It is 1 minute for table topics, 4 minutes for icebreakers speech, and usually 5 minutes for most of the other prepared speeches. And yellow light, when the role taker or speaker should be aware of their time being up soon. And I'll show a red light when time is finished and speaker has a maximum of 30 seconds to wrap up their speech. At the end of the meeting, I'll present you with my report for everyone. For now, please enjoy the meeting. Back to you, General Editor.
Thank you, Timer Akash. And in fact, Timer Akash is playing a double role. He's also the Zoom master. Now the R counter is there. So may I invite the R counter for today, Toastmaster Priyadarshini. Toastmaster Priyadarshini.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Milind. I am the R counter for today's meeting. When we speak, we try to take help of few repeated words, fillers, or crutch sounds, assuming they are helping us while we speak. But those are the sounds or the fillers or the crutch sounds, they deteriorate the intent of the message we try to pass to the audience. Hence, I'm here to help you all to reduce the usage of such fillers, crutch sounds, and those repeated words. Fillers like crutch sounds like and fillers like and, so, like, you know. And also we tend to, when we try to recollect our thought, we tend to repeat the words I, this means. So these are the words which reduces the impact of the message we try to pass. I would provide you 2 tips which you can keep in mind, which will help you to reduce reduction in the usage of these words. Let's say you are thinking or you're collecting your thoughts before you speak. Those are the weak moments when we try to take the help of our ums and ands. Take the quick pause. I'm sure you will avoid that or you are so tempted to use. Break your sentences to small sentences. I'm sure you will stay away from unnecessary and, so, and you know. I'm sure it's going to help you, and I will be providing my report towards the end of the meeting once called upon. Thank you. Over to you, distinguished Toastmaster Milind.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priyadarshini, for giving those minor but very subtle tips for us how to overcome that. Because ultimately, in every role or every speech, the most important thing, what is the takeaway? And any words or any gestures or phrases which try to impede that, that can be put into your R counter's role. And you did a fantastic job with that. So kudos to you. Now, we have one more, most important assistant, who is the backbone of any play or any performance. So he or she is a grammarian. So please join me in inviting the grammarian for today, Toastmaster Vinod.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Vinod.
What is the difference between a cat and a comma? Can anyone say? One has clause at the end of its pause, and the other one is a pause at the end of a clause. Clause which is CLAUSE. Good evening, Toastmasters. My role is to monitor the language and the grammar usage. I believe basic grammar such as tenses, prepositions, verbs is all needed for delivering a good speech. And that brings me to the word of the day, which is endurance. Kind of matches with the theme which we have in terms of sports and fitness. What is endurance? Endurance is the ability or strength to continue or last despite fatigue, stress, or other adverse conditions. Over to you, G.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vinod, for highlighting the importance of grammar and sharing the link of the word of the day with today's session. After all, we have a 90-minute session and we need to have a nice endurance to make sure our session is a cracking session. So as far as I'm concerned, the Toastmaster Day will call me and I'll share my report along with my team. So with this, over to Toastmaster Day, Akash.
Milind sir, we have listener as well.
Sorry. My apologies. The most important thing, who always listens. And the listener for the day today is the youngest member of our club, Toastmaster Joseph.
Thank you, Toastmaster Milan. I know that you will miss me, but somehow we have been tracked back. Thank you so much. Good evening, Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Listening is one of the most important things in any form of address or speeches or anything like that, because a good listener is a good speaker. So I am taking the role of the listener today, and I will ask questions at the end of the meeting in order to test how many of you are really putting your mind in listening rather than only wavering the ideas above your head. Over to you, DTM Milanji.
Thank you, Toastmaster today. Toastmaster Joseph. So with this, over to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, DT and Milan, for having explained your role to perfection. And a special thanks to the TAC team for having explained their role to perfection as well. Now it's time for us to move on to our first session of the day, which is the prepared speech session. So for that, I'd like to call upon the first evaluator. Now this man happens to work as a manager at WhatFix. He's passionate, talented. He happens to have an enduring passion for gymming. He's going to be evaluating the first speech of the day, and he's none other than Toastmaster Shubhadeep. Please welcome Toastmaster Shubhadeep. Would you mind going ahead to explain the purpose of the speech?
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Adarsh. So today, the speech that I will be evaluating is a high performance leadership project. And trust me when I say that this requires a lot of endurance, because it's not just one project that a person has to deliver. There are two. One, the person has to complete a specific project. And based on that, the person has to get suggestions from a guidance committee, organize speech, and give out 2 speeches. The first speech has already been given by the respective speaker, which is Toastmaster Deepa. Today, we'll be listening to her second speech. The purpose of this speech or this project is for the member to apply his or her leadership and planning knowledge to develop a project plan, organize a guidance committee, and implement the plan with the help of a team. Second, the purpose of the second speech is for the member to share the aspect of his or her learning experience while completing the project. Note to the timer, the timing is 5 to 7 minutes. And for the speaker, few things which I will be looking into during the speech. One, the delivery style, how engaging the speech has been. Second, along with the style, I'll also try and understand what are the content that you're delivering. Please note that this should not be a report of the content of high performance leadership project. With that being said, all the best to the respective speaker, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shubhadeep. Hopefully I can endure through this session. Now I would like to call upon the first speaker of the day. We have a person who's a girl. We have a girl who has many talents, but her love for speaking has led her to Toastmasters. She joined Toastmasters about 3 years ago. She enjoys skipping, taking brisk walks, although she mentioned that she does that very rarely. She prides herself on being able to walk long distances at a rapid pace. The girl in question is none other than our club president, Deepa Sampath Kumar. The title of her speech is Leadership Lessons in Project Management. Over to you, Deepa.
Thank you, Adarsh. And let me share my presentation. You can all see, right? A thumbs up. Okay, thanks Adarsh for that confirmation. So this is my level 5 project, and it's called High Performance Leadership. A leader, they say, is somebody who has a vision and has the capacity to convert that vision into reality. And that's exactly what I was trying to do with my HPL project. And this was my HPL project, which was conducted way back in February 1st, shortly after a month after I became president. And this was our first special event. So it was by a friend of mine at Holborn Speakers Club, who I met during the pandemic, visited while I was visiting clubs. And I realized he was a table topics champion, and that too a serial table topics champion, got him to our clubs and decided I'm going to make something out of this event, something greater, something bigger for a virtual setup. So this is how, for many of you and in the virtual room haven't witnessed this session, so I'll just play a snippet. This is compiled by our Toastmaster Akash.
Thank you, Jimmy, for the wonderful session.
So much.
Thank you.
And I declare meeting 598 closed.
Thank you so much for such big smile.
Wow, I was simply on cloud nine.
Well, that was the event, and I was the event chair. These Shrinu and Milind were my guidance committee members, and everybody else in Speech Weavers, most of them were part of the organizing team. So I just quickly ran through so that I don't take too much time. So my vision as part of this project was all these things. I had outlined it in my first speech, was to develop confidence at organizing these large-scale events amongst all of our members. And the aim was to get 200 to 250 members to attend the meeting. And we did have 300 registrations, 300 plus registrations, but out of which 140 attended. Then we had to coordinate with the presenter to bring out the best out of him. And we were successful to a great extent. And the other part of the vision was introduce diversity, get all the Toastmasters across the club to attend our meeting. So we had people joining in from 10 plus countries. So we don't have the exact number. We definitely know it went beyond 10. And also one of the other objectives was to promote Toastmasters in our immediate vicinity, in our community, and also build our membership. We found limited success there, and also place benchmarks of high quality. Now, I'll talk to you about all the challenges that I faced as while organizing this leadership program and the lessons I learned. First one was last minute role taker cancellation for a big event like this. We did plan for it, thankfully, and we did have a sudden replacement. So we had a SAA who went suddenly out of reach, and we had a replacement immediately because there was somebody who already had rehearsed. We ran a Facebook campaign, and we had one campaign running for Toastmasters, which was not a paid one, the other one, which was monetized, and we paid for it to increase publicity in the immediate area where we operate. So there were problems in this aspect because the two posters got interchanged. And so there was lack of clarity with my PR role taker, which was Vinu, and then we fixed it. So we fixed it, and the second day, we were able to stop the loss of our money over the ad campaign by day 2. And the third thing that I learned from this whole project was too much burden on individuals. I really wished I had set up a larger team and I could split work clearly into all of them, especially PR work, because it had a lot of work into it. There were 3 posters, video posters, coordination between different people, WhatsApp group, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, we had to publicize everywhere. We had to start early as well. Now, so I was able to fix that because I had done PR work before, but hadn't I done PR work before, I would have been in a quandary. So that's how I dealt with it. So I realized that we have to split work equitably to get things done. And the next thing was a detailed discussion with Jamie Hamer, which wasn't possible for some reason. We did have a meeting with him, but another meeting where I could have discussed exactly what he'll be speaking about, because there was a section where he was teaching us techniques. And then there was a section where we tried out the techniques. But unfortunately, the audience didn't try out those techniques. They just went about with their regular table topics. They didn't use those techniques that were given out. So it would have been better if we gave the technique first, immediately they tried the topic. So had I had that conversation, had we had a conversation as a team, that would have been fixed. And then, as I already said, there was a small team size, and I wish I had delineated clear responsibilities to each of them so that one of them is taking care of WhatsApp groups, one of them is taking care of email invites, one of them is taking care of registration links. So each of them has a clear set of responsibilities. And the next one was to follow up with our attendees. So this is something we really lagged behind in, because we knew who registered, but we didn't know who attended. And if we had planned as to how to get the people who attended, it would have been easier for us to follow up with the ones who were non-Toastmasters, and hopefully we could get more people join our club. Now, as part of this leadership project, I really learned to motivate my team. First, I had to be excited about the project, and I think I successfully managed to get a team motivated and to join me in executing this grand vision of holding a special event. And you can see I literally got goosebumps as I was watching the video prepared by Akash. So that's a special memory that he created for us at Speech Weavers, and it goes on to say how much of teamwork was involved. And then I realized the importance of appreciating every member involved in this process. Every tiny detail had to be brought out and shown to them, and also involve them in all the organizing details. Whenever we were brainstorming, I was always open to their ideas. I gave room for them to be part of this whole vision. Setting up, I also learned how to set up different PR strategies. How do we go about publicity? There had to be a mechanism. And this is another skill that I developed. Bringing in creativity. Usually we had these meetings which were starting and suddenly the SAA comes in front and there it goes. But this time we decided we're going to really bring up the spirit, and we tried on music to amplify this expectation levels of people. So we did try a lot of PR strategies. We put up a poster in front so that they knew that at the right meeting, what they had to rename themselves as. So we did a lot of those creativity bits as well. And the last one is I learned how to follow up on all the key role takers and all the organizing team, and to follow up with them and set up deadlines, and not just set up deadlines and have that expectation, but to be there and follow up if they didn't follow those deadlines, to give a gentle nudge. Hey, can you do this by tomorrow? And then things began to roll continuously. So these are my lessons from this tiny leadership project. Leadership is a continuous journey. We continue to learn as long as we're alive, and it's no less applicable to leadership as well. I hope I really do believe that I became a better leader as part of this program, and Toastmasters with this HPL project did bring in those additional feathers that I could wear on my hat. Thank you. Over to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepa. There was an impressive presentation highlighting the challenges you have faced as a leader and your vision for Toastmasters and speech weavers. Now it's time for us to move on to our second speech of the day. And before that, I'd like to call upon the next evaluator to state the purpose of the speech. Now this person has been a Toastmaster for the last 8 years, but he joined Speech Weavers just a week ago. He possesses over 18 years of experience in the field of IT, and he's passionate about coaching and personal development. This so-called gentleman loves yoga and happens to be a very good Toastmaster. Please welcome Toastmaster Vineet. Toastmaster Vineet, would you mind going ahead to state the purpose of the speech?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Adarsh. Interestingly, there is no purpose, Toastmaster Varsha. It's your icebreaker. The only thing that you have to do is just introduce yourself to the club and learn the basic structure of public speaking. So that's what the purpose is. There are certain technicalities on which I will evaluate, which is more on the clarity, more on the audience awareness, gestures, eye contact, vocal variety. But for you, it's your first speech, so go ahead and enjoy the speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Adarsh.
Thank you, evaluator, Toastmaster Vineet, for explaining your role to perfection. Now we are going to move on to our second speaker of the day. This person joined Speech Weavers a little over a month ago. She works as a SAP consultant for Accenture and has completed a bachelor's in engineering. In the past month, she has made many attempts to improve her communication and leadership qualities. And now she wants to up the ante by attempting her icebreaker speech. She loves sketching, tracking, and traveling. Her favorite sport is badminton. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to Toastmaster Varsha Kandekar. Toastmaster Varsha Kandekar, and her speech title is The Twisted Journey. Let me repeat, the speech title is The Twisted Journey.
Thank you, Toastmaster Adarsh. Okay. Is the timer ready?
Okay, you want to start when?
Yeah.
Shall
Okay.
I-
I'll start with. Yeah. It's a girl, said by the nurse at the hospital. As expected, replied by my grandmother. As my parents already had my elder brother. On the 15th day of my birth, one of my aunt named me as Varsha. Varsha, maybe because I was born in the month of September during the monsoon season. I, Varsha Kandekar, welcome you all. I wish you all a very good evening. Life is a journey of a roller coaster ride. The fun doesn't begin when it is at the top. It begins with its twists and turns. Let me take you to my journey in a fast forward manner. It all began with a small family in KGF. I hope here everyone would have heard about the place KGF and why it is famous for. Well, recently it became famous for the movie KGF, but it was actually famous for the gold mines. Yes, somebody's mentioned the gold. Yeah, it's famous for gold. So the name Kolar Gold Fields. As Kolar Gold Fields, my family roots are from Maharashtra. My hometown is Belgaum, which is in the border of Maharashtra and Karnataka. As my father was posted in KGF, so I was brought up in KGF. Like every standard average kid, I too went to a school with a big bag at my back and two pleated hairs, along with my brother, which he hated. He hated maybe because of the mischievousness or the stupidity I did. Like every house has the younger ones are the mischievous ones and the elder ones are the serious kind, which reminds me of an incident in a school where I intentionally poured sauce one of my brother's friend's desk and I ran away from the place. It was then my brother who cleaned it. So gradually, I became a reserved and shy kid. Maybe, but I still have that uh, mischievous style somewhere in the corner of my heart. That's the reason I call myself as an ambivert. So everyone at the school time was told that marks are good for one's career. I too took those words seriously, but not very seriously though. I was good at academics, but never a first ranker. Then I completed my schooling from Kedriya Vidyalaya. It was then the 12th and 11th and 12th standard, the junior colleges. I still remember the first day of my college. I saw like 60 to 70 people in a single classroom. That was the moment I realized, oh, yes, India is the second largest populated country in the world. These are the 2 years when people put a lot of efforts in scoring good. I too did, but in opposite way. I did my 12th. I scored well in my 12th standard, but I didn't do well in my entrance exam. I was disappointed. Then it was the admissions to the engineering colleges, where as a result of my 12th grades, I did not had much choices to make in choosing the engineering exam, in choosing the engineering colleges. As a result, I had to join engineering college near my home. With this, my dream of enjoying my college life and hostel life as a free bird went in a vein. I joined in electronics and communication department there. In these 4 years, I can say I learned many things. I joined, participated in many activities. I learned regional languages, but never learned C, C++, or Java. Everybody in their life has some or the other motivation. To me, it was my 12th standard grade which kept me motivated. Even though we didn't had campus recruitment in our colleges, I somehow managed to clear the e-litmus exam, with which I got placed in Accenture. In Accenture, I was trained in SAP as a coder. The irony here is I did my engineering in electronics and communication, but I ended up being a coder in an IT service company. So here I would like to say that life is a journey, a roller coaster ride. It has its own twists and turns. It's up to you whether you scream or put your hands up in the air and enjoy the journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Varsha, for the amazing speech. And now is the time for each and every one of them to rise up to give a round of applause to Toastmaster Varsha Kandekar and successfully delivering her icebreaker. Thank you very much, Varsha. That was an amazing speech. I was totally taken back by the sort of journey you've had in your life. And I want you to know that I did my schooling in Kendriya Vidyalaya AC Center. It's time for me to move on to the third speaker of the day. But before that, I have to introduce the evaluator. So the third evaluator, let me. Our third evaluator happens to be a UX designer who has a wide range of interests, including making art. She's none other than the adorable Toastmaster Vandana. Toastmaster Vandana, would you mind going ahead to state the purpose of the speech?
Thank you, Toastmaster Adarsh. A very good evening, Toastmasters and guests. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice writing a speech with emphasis on adding language to increase interest and impact. I'd be looking out for descriptive language and literary elements such as plot and setting. I wish you the best of luck. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vandana, for having explained your role very well. And I forgot to add that Toastmaster Vandana actually loves to dance. So that is something that I forgot to add, and I'm glad that I finally added it to the conversation, and hopefully people can talk about it. So moving on to our third speaker of the day. As for our final prepared speech, we have with us, a young and vibrant individual who's attempted a host of roles at Toastmasters. Professionally speaking, he works as a manager at a telecom service startup and was the immediate past VP of membership. And he's the current VP education of our club. He has a master's in biotechnology and is passionate about cricket and football. He loves working out at the gym and has been working out at home since the start of the lockdown. I'd like to introduce you to Toastmaster Mayur. The title of his speech is Digital Transformation. Let me repeat, Digital Transformation. Toastmaster Mayur, would you please go ahead and start your speech?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, for inviting me. When did you observe recent disruption? Any guesses? Okay, so last year in February, it started from China and spread it around the world. I am talking about COVID, which we are still scared and don't know when we will get rid of it. Even though at all level, leading from healthcare, scientists and government, working on it to eradicate it. If it wasn't there, I might be enjoying my Corona beer. Good evening, dear member and guest. Today, I am going to talk about digital transformation. When did you notice digital transformation for the first time? Any idea? Okay.
1990s.
Last year, 2019.
Yeah.
In 1990s.
It is. Yes. It started from.
Invited.
Yes. Thank you, Milind sir. So many companies deploying both digital and physical technologies to excel in current market. 4 A's which every system leader must be smart. These are AI. First one is AI. Second is additive technology. Third one is analytics. And fourth one is automation. In the current ever-changing environment, leaders are leading through uncertainty. And we must recognize these patterns such as discovering intersection, adopt business models, optimize market structure, and taking actions such as build a technical stack, organize ecosystem, align organizations, and sustain a business. For example, car technologies has changed remarkably in the past few years. Use of camera by combining technology gave us driverless cars and companies like Tesla leading the market. If I have to talk about another thing about disruption, I remembered buying a cell phone for the first time. And when I showed it to my Dadaji, my grandfather, he said, "Ye kya liya hai beta?" It's look like a calculator. I told him, "Dadaji, ye mobile hai and we can talk on it like telephone. We just don't need to sit on a single place," as told by Abhishek Bachchan in one of his ads, "Walk when you talk." Over the year, many companies disrupting the economy using technology in various areas. Innovative platform with an operating front end. One of the biggest example is Amazon. Amazon has changed retail business, but still companies like Best Buy, Home Depot, Target are still surviving by turning their headwind into tailwind and not fighting the inevitable blur and blend, because what they are doing is providing after-sale service, which Amazon or similar company lack it when it comes to large appliances or in some other areas. Disruptor have Disruptor have a blank sheet of paper. They can think with a clean slate how they are going to meet customer needs, but they often don't have the domain knowledge of what it takes to be a successful in particular market. Many incumbents have deep balance sheet, but they need to move more quickly and build skill sets and competencies that might they haven't had previously in their organizations. In ever-changing world where products are changing regularly and where every product is connected, companies need to keep in mind two things. Number one, they need to develop a capability to write the software to communicate with customers, and then how to manage it on ongoing basis, to listen to the conversation with the customer, to understand how customer are using the product, and to think about how they can constantly be improving their product to delight customers and thinking about customer outcomes. At the same time, organization need to understand that entire ecosystem might be jealous of that ongoing conversation and relationship between maybe a company that manufactures something and the end users. And people in the channel might want to be a part of that data stream going back and forth. Companies that innovate on both the new technologies and new business model end up becoming a winner in long term. A great example is Align Technologies. If you have seen ad of this company, they make clear invisible align teeth strengthening tool. The technology is behind the clear plastic aligner was very, very difficult for them. It is very difficult to manufacture, but what they did really well is that they increased their channel selling not only through orthodontists, but through dentists as well, which were very much expanded their market and allow adult to start using it, not only just teenagers. What we found is that having business model in using innovation and technological innovation was a real force multiplier, and doing only one of this was necessary but not sufficient for long-term successes. As companies from technology industry move into things like healthcare and financial services, they started getting into areas where government increasingly regulate all these areas. In addition, it started to get a national industrial policy. Leaders of companies for the next several decades are going to have to be very conversant in how to work with and collaborate with governments all over the world and know how to be successful in a world that is increasingly complex. With that, I would like to conclude. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
I want you all to give a round of applause to Toastmaster Mayur. Mayur, that was an incredible speech addressing a very important issue related to technology. And technology is something that most of us are already used to, especially when you consider the young generation. Because for people like me, the technological revolution started all the way back in 2008 when Steve Jobs introduced the first iPhone. But in this day and age, all of us have to get used to technology, regardless of which generation we are from. So thank you very much for addressing that important topic. And now it's time for us to move on to the next session, which is the table topic session. And before we go ahead with the session, I would like to introduce a table topics master. She's already a Toastmaster, but she's new to Speech Weavers. She happens to be a certified image professional and soft skills coach. She's also a makeup artist, a beautician, and an engineering graduate by qualification. Along with home engineering, she has over 10 years of experience running her own business as a professional makeup artist and a beautician. Presently, she's a founder of Elite Image Makeover by Nilo GS. She loves cooking, dancing, playing chess, reading books, listening to songs, and practicing meditation. Her favorite sport is swimming. I would like to introduce you to the table topic master of the day, Toastmaster Nilu GS. Toastmaster Neelu GS.
Thank you, Adarsh, for such a nice introduction. And good evening to all the Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Glad I'm a part of this club, which has endured itself over the time. One of the most exciting portions of the Toastmasters meeting is the table topic sessions. Table topics help members participate the art of improvisation and also help us think on our feet. This helps us develop our 4 vital communication skills. They are listening, thinking, organizing, and delivering the speech. The main objective is to challenge members to develop their impromptu communication skills. The topics that I have prepared for you will hopefully help all of us become better at improvisation. Since we are Toastmasters, try and provide a speaking opportunity to maximum audience members. This session is not restricted to only members. Even the guests can participate. I hope everyone gives this a shot. I may randomly call anyone to participate, or you can volunteer. Participants, please note the timings for the table topic is no more than 2 minutes. At 1 minute, you will see a green signal, and 1 minute, 30 seconds, you will see a yellow signal, and at 2 minutes, you will see a red signal. I'll be asking questions related to the theme, and I also encourage you to use the word of the day, endurance. So let's get started. Who wants to be the first? Just you can put it in the chat box. Yes. Waiting for someone. Yes, Sir Milind, sir. Okay, here the question goes for you. The sports what I love is swimming. So first question I would like to ask you related to that. If you were a fish in the water, which sport would you love and why?
Your background which shows what I should be doing. It takes me back to 1999, 2000, when I'd gone to Birmingham University. My sister was doing a PhD. And for the first time, I saw an indoor swimming pool, and that was temperature controlled. So the moment I saw your background, it reminded me of that. So those couple of months, or maybe a few days I was there, every day, forget my tourism and everything. I made sure I went to that swimming pool and thoroughly enjoyed. And by the way, swimming is something I have been passionate right from my school days, because I was a long distance swimmer, and we used to swim not in swimming ponds, we used to swim in big lakes. Those who know, in Calcutta, there's a Ravindra Sarovar lake. So I used to go there and enjoy that. And especially in hot weather like now also, I feel like jumping into the swimming pool and just enjoying it. The swimming has a lot of good things about it. Unlike other sports, swimming is a complete sport, because entire, from a head to toe, you get not only physical, but mental relaxation is there. Your body heat is absorbed. So that is one beautiful thing. In fact, nowadays they say even those who are heavyweights, they can just walk, even if they don't know the swimming, they can just walk across. That itself will reduce the calorie. The swimming can be done. There are a lot of gymnasiums can be done in. So swimming is a beautiful, complete thing. And there you can even do your pranayams, because you can do your breathing exercise when you go down. So that is something, unfortunately, because of COVID, swimmers, they cannot go over there. That's the sad part. Otherwise, swimming is one of the best exercise, especially for a country like us, which is a very hot country. So that is a beautiful thing. And I encourage everyone, maybe when the corona goes, to ensure, even if you don't know swimming, don't be afraid. Just walk in that 5 feet or something and enjoy that water. Because as a kid, remember, we should always like water. That's a natural human tendency of any smallest kid to go and play in the water, and they don't want to come out. So that is a natural instinct which a human being has been given. So enjoy that swimming and make that as a habit. So with this, over to table topic master.
Wonderful, sir. And it's been so well explained. And as I agree with you that it's a overall, complete body exercise and gives you a lot of relaxation. Yes, next. Next, please. Yes, Umair has come up, and Umair is our guest. Yes, Umair, the question for you goes, if you had to opt for a sport with your opposite sex partner, then which sport would you love to play? Why?
Okay, is that indoor or outdoor, or can I pick?
Anything. Which sport would you opt, like, with your opposite sex partner? So, and why would you choose that?
Okay. I guess I'll go with Indian classic cricket. The reason is, first of all, I'm not a very sports guy, so I don't play a lot of sports. But yeah, cricket is the classic in our country, so I'll pick that because it's not very physically heavy, and it's kind of calm and nice, and it's more strategic than more strategic than just plainly physical, unlike some sports like rugby or soccer or things. So yeah, cricket is something I would pick. Helps me stay calm. I don't like to get too hyperactive or something. So yeah, that's my pick. Back to you.
Next. So how about Joseph, sir?
Hi, sir.
How would you feel if eating was a sport and being fat was considered as fitness?
Can you please repeat it?
How would you feel if eating was a sport and being fat and healthy would be considered as the fitness?
Yeah, if everybody starts eating in the form of a sports, then that is a challenge of eating. So there should not be any challenge while you are eating. Eating has to be a sensible situation where you will have to maintain your health. I have seen many such things in my life where the sports of eating samosas, 20, 30 samosas or eggs or whatever it is, and it is not worthwhile to do such sports because it will be a bad result of your health. On that day, you may suffer. You will not tell anything, but you will win the trophy. But in the end, you will suffer a lot. Therefore, eating should be not a sport activity. It should be a enjoyment, a delicious dinner or a lovely afternoon lunch or any good breakfast will really give you a sort of pleasure atmosphere while eating, because eating itself is a what you call the gift of God that will make you grow, that will give you energy, that will give you what is known as the sense and the mind activation, body strength. Everything is included in your food. The food is the most important thing. You love to eat also, but at the same time, it will give you energy to live a good life. That was the main theme of eating. God has given you so much of ideas so that you can plan your life according to what you eat, what you are, what you eat. Over to you.
Well said, sir. So next, we can take up another two, I guess. Next.
Yes.
Okay, how about Adarsh?
Neelu, give it to Sushma.
Yeah. Sushma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Adarsh, if you want, you can take it.
No, yeah, I'll go with Sushma first, and then we will give it for even Adarsh also. And Sushma, a question for you goes here. Indoor games or outdoor games, which are better? And how is it affecting in the pandemics?
Can you please repeat the question?
Indoor games or outdoor games, which are better and why, and how is it affecting us in this pandemics?
Okay. Indoor games, see, basically games means it is a good physical exercise, whether it is indoor or outdoor. I used to play both indoor and outdoor both also. But these days, children during the lockdown and even since they're very busy with their studies and other things, many of them are in societies like big apartments, high-rise apartments. It is very convenient for them to just come together, gather together, and then they're playing in one of the house. And during the pandemic, I have seen many of them opting indoor games since they cannot go out and play. And when it comes to outdoor games, yes, it teaches many things, socialization as well as how to handle, and it gives more exercise to the body than indoor games, since we have to like running or whatever it is, we cannot play indoors. We have to go out and then play. Yes, I would opt outdoor, since it gives good exercise to the body as well as it gives mental strength also. Yes, over to table topic masters.
Yes, Sushma. And so next, how about Vinod? Vinod. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So the question goes here as, if cricket was not named as cricket, then what name would you name it? Why? Cricket lovers, yes.
Put me on a spot there. If cricket is not named as cricket, what would I have named it as? Can I pass? I think
Just a try. Okay, I'll just ask you one more question. How do you compare the sports and fitness of our ancestors to the present generation?
so. I think from an ancestor perspective, many of the sports kind of originated much earlier, but in the form of for example, soccer was being played in the past, few hundred years back, using coconuts and in different forms. But sports has always been there. There's always been team games, even when it used to be a while back. Only thing which has changed is obviously the spirit of the game has now been more I find competitive as opposed to what it used to be, which was recreational. And there is a lot of technology involved in it now. There is a lot of sophistication in the form of physiotherapists and doctors and sports specialists, which is there right now. But in the past, that never used to be, because it was never competitive. It was recreational. There was not much money involved. But I think in terms of the spirit, in terms of how physical fitness is involved and all that, and then our ancestors were a lot fitter than us, because we know the kind of food habits we have now, which is as before it was, there was no kind of junk food. It was all very nutritious and healthy food. So I feel that is the big change. Apart from that, the spirit is still the same. Back to you.
Well, thank you. Okay, Adarsh, which sport you like? This question goes for Adarsh. So just you can name something for the cricket if it was not cricket.
So that's a very interesting topic. Now, there are plenty of names that I can come up with for the sport of cricket. Now, as Vandana stated in the chat box, I can call it bat and ball, but that's not something that I'd like to call it. I'd like to call it something different. I would like to call it a game that was presented to us from the Britishers. Now, this is a very long name, but I'd like to take the first syllable from each of these names, from each of these words, and I'd like to merge them together, and I'd like to call it that. Now, I'm not quite sure as to what it'd be called exactly, but that's your homework to do. So, cricket as a sport is absolutely brilliant. It's a game that I played years ago. It's been a very long time since I last tried my hand at that. But that's something that I'd like to call it. It's a present from a different country that we happen to bring into our system, and we turn it into a sport that many people love across the country. I wouldn't like to call it bat and ball. I'd like to call it a game that was presented to us from a different country, the Britishers. Now, now, as a homework to each and every one of you, I want you to take out the first syllable from each of those words, and I want you to put them together, and I want you to find out what it would actually be called. Thank you, Toastmaster Neelu.
Thank you to all the participants for such a wonderful tabletop sessions. And over to you, Timod, Adarsh.
Thank you very much, Table Topics Master Neelu GS. It's been absolutely incredible. And it seems you're a big fan of swimming. And to quote an example of how difficult swimming is actually to me, I have to tell you that I tried my hand at swimming about 10 years ago. I took my first dip into a pool and I tried my level best to swim as good as I could. But each time when I swam, I used to sink and not float. My brother once pulled me out of the pool and he told me, you better not swim again because you're just not good at it. And I remember he took a dip into the pool and he needed over 5 people to pull him out of the pool because he was sinking as well. And that's how difficult the sport is. And at the same time, that's how interesting it is. And now we are going to move on to the evaluation round. And I would like to call upon the gender evaluator for today, Milan Kulapkar, to take the session forward.
So may I invite my dedicated coaches to give their evaluation. So first, for the star speaker number 1, for her the coach was Toastmaster Shubhadeep. Over to you for your evaluation of Toastmaster Deepa.
Thank you, Milan, sir. A very good evening to my fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, and my target speaker for today, Toastmaster Deepa. During this speech that you delivered today, I must begin by saying 3 things. Number 1, delivery. That was shared with utter aptness. Number 2, style. Though it was sedentary, but it was extremely effective. The third one, content. That was robust and detailed. These are the 3 things I really enjoyed during the speech, during the entire session that it took us through today. In addition to that, the video was quite engaging. I really liked the way it was structured, which showed us what all things you had covered during that event. In addition to that, you walked us through the journey of what all did you do during that presentation or during that project. Number 1, the campaigns that you run, both free and paid, the experience, the burden, the challenges, and the lesson learned. And finally, the skills that you developed during the due course. Everything was structured really well and presented to us. Very well done. Now, coming to a bit of recommendations which I could advise during this project or during the second speech. The very first one being time. So in this speech, the second speech of HPL, time is of great essence. And what I noticed is the content that you had was quite robust, it was detailed. But since we only have 5 to 7 minutes, rather than focusing on each and every point that you had within the presentation, you could have talked to us only about, could have shared the highlights, and then you could have talked about the points without sharing the presentation. What that would have done is, that would have reduced the time that you had taken. Because again, in Toastmasters, what we learn is during the current series that you are in, we expect that yes, your project will be completed within the dedicated timeline. Second, at times I felt that you were entirely reading from the presentation. So when you're conducting a presentation, of course, sedentary style is absolutely fine since we are doing everything through this Zoom meeting. But then again, if you could have stand and you could deliver us everything to us, or you could have practiced maybe a little bit more, that would not have given us the impression that you were reading something directly from the presentation. That could have been avoided the moment you reduce the content, focus on the highlights of the presentation. With that being said, those two recommendations, if you incorporate those, trust me, you are on an absolute perfect way to becoming a great speaker. With that being said, it was a nice speech that you delivered today, and I really look forward to hearing out more speeches from you. Thank you, and over to the General Evaluator, Milind sir.
Thank you, Toastmaster Subhadeep, for perfect evaluation, even highlighting the areas for improvement, especially the time factor, because being a high performance project level 5, the Toastmaster is expected to follow all the requirements of the project. So that was maybe the timer need to be pinned so it becomes easy for the speaker. Sometimes in the flow, he or she may miss out. So it's just a suggestion to all the timer for the day as well as Toastmaster of the day. You can just ensure that the timer has been pinned by the speaker or the role taker. So that will ensure that we don't miss out on the time, because with 3 speakers and already we are in 6:21, so that's a big challenge for us. So thank you once more to Toastmaster Subhadeep and the speaker Toastmaster Deepa. Now coming to second speaker. So may I request evaluator Toastmaster Vinit to evaluate the icebreaker speech of Varsha.
Thank you, Toastmasters. General Evaluator Toastmaster DTM Milind. So hello, Toastmasters guests, and hello to Varsha in particular. Robert Schuller said that winning starts with the beginning. And Varsha, at the outset, I will say that you are a winner since you have begun. So congratulations on taking your first step. I think your speech was so much enjoyable. The purpose of an icebreaker is to just introduce yourself to the audience, but I think it went beyond. I especially liked how you began explaining to us at the start meaning of your name with so much of enthusiasm. Varsha was born when it was raining. Great content, so much of enthusiasm, energy, terrific start, great end. Using humor is a powerful technique to ease the audience into listening to you and staying with you throughout the speech. And you again did that. If you can do that in the first speech, I think it requires lots of endurance, and nothing like the way you did, right? Well done with that. Like all the speeches, Varsha, I think there are always some improvement areas. I have a couple of points which I feel if you complement that, it will make your speech even more impactful. Considering that you use so many tools and techniques like humor, hand gesture, enthusiasm, right? It would have been paired with one more important tool that is called pause, right? And which really helps in the transition. So sometimes for me, it was getting a bit harder for me to keep my attention when you were transitioning from one phase of your life to the other. So in my view, this could have generated even more impact. The second point, using body language and gestures undoubtedly is really helpful. But then if we are able to do it in a bit controlled manner, as per the flow of my speech, it makes a bit less distracting as well. A good speech always consists of exciting transition. For an example, when you moved to an important milestone from one phase of your life, from college, then college to Accenture, right? You could have given some pause so that my chain of thought would have, traveled with your story. But out and out, congratulations on a well job done. If you can use the pauses and make a bit more controlled body movement, I think you will make amazing level of impact. And don't forget, these are all my personal views as an evaluator. Please get in touch with your mentor and get your speech and evaluation validated with him. Your mentor is the most crucial person in this communication and leadership journey. So all the best, and looking forward for more speeches from you. Over to you, Toastmaster Adarsh.
Fabulous evaluation by Toastmaster Vinit. What a detailed evaluation. Varsha, you are fortunate to have an evaluator like this, because he highlighted all the things maybe even a senior Toastmaster would require those inputs. So kudos to you. And the way you highlighted that was very encouraging. So there was very positivity was there. And even in the end, you highlighted, please note as a word of caution that these are just my personal inputs. So you were very clear, not to, because you could make out, you could empathize with the icebreaker speech and the way you language which you used, control your body movements. So it was very apt and very decent and delicate way we were handled. So kudos. So you're really a coach indeed. Fantastic job. And kudos to Toastmaster Varsha. Is she there? Okay, right. So for your completing icebreaker speech, because only recently you had joined and immediately you jumped into. That's what they say. If you want to run swimming, jump into the pool. Just sitting and watching from the swimming pool will not help you to swim. And that's what she has done. Kudos. So now is the time for our evaluator number 3. And who is she? She's a champion evaluator of our club. Toastmaster Vandana, over to you to evaluate speaker number 3, Mayur.
Thank you, General Evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster Milan. Toastmaster Mayur, what energy you had when you started off. A great topic, digital transformation. And I loved how you started. Your energy was great. You were very confident. Your voice reflected that. Your presence, the way you held yourself reflected that. And I felt that you were very comfortable with the topic. So it's important to choose a topic that you are very comfortable with. At the same time, the audience can understand. So I think you were very aware of what the audience can, absorb, and what probably, and digital transformation is something we've been experiencing, especially because of the pandemic, of, avoiding currency notes and, buying online. So all these buzzwords of e-commerce, all the e-commerce sites like Amazon. So great, you brought some wonderful examples which we can relate to. I love how you started with humor of Corona. I mean, that's the biggest, probably, the other funny thing is coronation, right? We have a nice event and it also has a name. So I like how you're using humor to start off. It's good to start off with that energy. Now, at the same time, even though your speech was really good and it had a lot of energy, if I would look at it from the perspective of the objectives of your project, I would say for a descriptive project, you would have to try and use more literary elements, few more adjectives, or where you're using adjectives, how can you use pause and pacing? So you can either pause before the adjective or elongate those words to emphasize on them, or after saying the adjective, you can actually stop for a while. So if you can use more interesting stories as examples where there was a problem and you emphasized on, and you can say like, there was a force multiplier where you can actually play around with your voice modulation to bring that description and make the audience feel what you're talking about. So that's where I think you can try to work on. Gestures, your hands were always moving, but it was getting cut off. So I think it's okay if you want to sit and give the speech, but I would suggest to probably work on your camera angles, pace and pause, more literary elements, more examples to create more interest. And I feel you rushed in the end, which you had a few more seconds. So you probably didn't need to. So when you give the ending, slow down, give the ending, pause, and then smile, and then hand it over to the PO module. So when you have the time, do that for sure. And I'm sure if you just work on these small things, you had the speech, you had the content, you just have to make these few small tweaks and you can take it to another level. So I wish you all the best, Malu.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vandana, for highlighting the project requirements. So that was also very critical sometimes because the speech itself was superb, but whether it met the project requirement, that subtle factors which you highlighted, and you also gave a suggestion how to take it forward. That was really good because you gave, as a coach, you shared some important snippets to them. So that was excellently done. And your positivity was very reflecting. So kudos to Mayur for highlighting. I only knew Amazon's at Flipkart, but he came with so many other details, and that disruptor, the way you asked the questions, and it was very conversationless, the way you talked about the entire thing, and we could easily connect, and the sense of humor. Just be aware of some pronunciation which I felt like sometimes you were saying conversation and then conversion. So I was getting mixed up whether you're talking about conversion or conversation. So those words, maybe you have to just elongate and clarify. Then the word expanded. So whether you were saying, well, I felt you were saying expanded the business, but what you pronounced was expended. Expended and expanded is a slight, total different meaning. I can expend my energy after a marathon, but I've expanded my lungs capacity after completing a marathon. So that's just be aware, because that pronunciation people may understand a different meaning totally. So that was otherwise beautifully done. So kudos to Toastmaster Vandana for the excellent evaluation, and Toastmaster Mayur for completing the thing. Now, may I request my other colleagues, my assistant coaches, starting with the timer. So over to the Zoom master come timer, Toastmaster Akash, who is playing a double role today.
Once again, good evening, everyone. Coming to the timer report, the meeting started sharply at 5 p.m. by SA Sushma, Toastmaster Sushma. TMOD started the meeting, TMOD took over the meeting by 5:12 p.m. And coming to the speech timings, for the prepared speeches, Speaker 1, Deepa, took 11 minutes 48 seconds. Speaker 2, Varsha, took 5 minutes 6 seconds. Speaker 3, Mayur, took 6 minutes 46 seconds. For the evaluation, speech evaluations, evaluator 1, Subhadeep, took 2 minutes 51 seconds. Evaluator 2, Vineet, took 2 minutes 47 seconds. Evaluator 3, Vandana, took 3 minutes 15 seconds. And for the table topics session, table topic speaker 1, Milind, took 2 minutes 8 seconds. Table topic speaker 2, Umair, took 47 seconds. Joseph, table topics speaker number 3, Joseph, took 1 minute 45 seconds. Table topic speaker number 4, Sushma, took 1 minute 37 seconds. Speaker number 5, Vinod, took 1 minute 44 seconds. Last speaker, Adarsh, took 1 minute 6 seconds. That is the time report for today. Back to you, General.
Can you highlight who are disqualified from the speakers thing and table topic speakers even and evaluators?
Okay, so for table topics, Umair took less, like 47 seconds, so less than 1 minute.
Okay, so evaluation.
Sorry, evaluation.
Evaluation.
All were under like 3 minutes 30 seconds.
For speakers.
For speakers, speaker 1 took 11 minutes 48 seconds.
How much was the time?
5 to 7 minutes.
Oh, okay, fine. So she's good. Okay, so fine. So as a timer, you have to highlight that because you have a very critical role. You have to disclose who are disqualified, because for the voting thing, whoever exceeds the 30 seconds, they are disqualified from the voting. Okay, so just be aware of that. So that's one of the scorecard when you give, you have to disclose the results who are eligible for voting. Thank you. Let's give a round of applause. And who's also the Zoom master. So great job done by both handling, is no joke. Now, may I request our counter, Toastmaster Priya, over to you.
Thank you so much, and welcome back again to the counter report. So before I start my report, I would request all of you to give to clap as hard as possible for these 4 Toastmasters: Toastmaster Subhadeep, Toastmaster Varsha, Toastmaster Mayur, Toastmaster Joseph. So they did not use any filler words. Now I would provide a generic report of the entire session. So I could understand as an R counter, my role is to provide the report of CRPF, the crutch usage of crutch words, repeated phrases or pauses, and then the filler words. And I did observe that this club has said bye-bye to the repeated words and the pauses, unnecessary pauses. We only need to work on our fillers and the crutch words. So I will be providing the specific report on repeated words and fillers. The crutches and the fillers. So starting with Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Sushma, your fillers are and crutches that you love to use. Coming to Joke Master, your are and are sprinkled with so here and there. Presiding officer and the speaker, being Toastmaster Deepa, your fillers are and crutch words are with sprinkle of so and here and there. Toastmaster Adarsh, though you had the longest screen time, you did not have any crutch words. You just used your helping filler word and. Toastmaster Subhadeep, as mentioned, no fillers, no crutches. Toastmaster Vinith, you had used and are. These are the words you took help of. Toastmaster Vandana, you used and with a sprinkle of here and there. You may want to work on it. Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmaster Milind, G, you have taken help of so and no usage of any crutch words. Similarly, Toastmaster Akash, you have not used any filler words, but you have used and so, which is like very minimal usage you have done. Toastmaster Vinod, you have used so as filler and are as your crutch word. Then coming to Toastmaster Neelu, you have used and alternatively. So I do understand, and as you all know, when we are less prepared, we do use filler words and crutch words. That's okay. When we have longer screen time and when we have chance to talk impromptu, we tend to take help of such fillers and crutch words. Do come to the meetings, do practice. I'm sure I'll have a better, cleaner report. Thank you so much. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Kudos to Toastmaster Priya for elaborately highlighting the importance and how each one went through the journey of potholes in their travel. That was excellently done by you. A great job done. So now I request the grammarian for the day, Toastmaster Vinod, over to you.
What I wanted to do is to point out some really interesting words and phrases in part of the speech. So I don't want to name anybody really, but I just wanted to go through the list, which I have noted down. Placing benchmarks of high quality was one of the phrases there, which was very interesting. Equitably, conundrum. Conundrum is a confusion or a difficult problem, so it's not a very common word. Delineation, meaning portraying something really precisely. So that one was used as well. How do we optimize the market structure? I thought it just felt really good with that in that entire sentence of in the digital transformation speech which Mayur had given. Disruptive technologies start with a very clean slate. It's a very interesting kind of line or phrase because that's so true, because they need to understand the customer needs, and that's what disruptive technology is, not to get confused by whatever else is already available. So that one is very interesting. And the word of the day was used by 3 people. Milind sir obviously used it in the first. Adarsh, the key mod, and Neelu, all 3 of them used it. My apologies if somebody else had used and I didn't catch it because I've had some instability with the internet. What do you, G?
Thank you, Toastmaster Vinod, for highlighting the importance of grammar and taking us through the important phrases which was used by everyone, especially Toastmaster Mayur. So those was very great thing. And again, you also shared the word of the day and which you were aware of whom you are used. So just to make sure that everyone uses the word of the day, what you can do, share the word of the day well in advance. And maybe we can have a nice exercise going on for the last couple of days. Once the grammarian who is there, and share examples. So, it's like a game which we have. So by the time we are already, it's like a net practice we're having. So when we are there, we know what is the word of the day, everyone, and then you'll be at a loss to count how many people have used the word of the day. So that should be your challenge next time. Otherwise, an excellent job done. So kudos to you. Once bitten, twice shy. This time I'm not going to forget. Toastmaster Joseph, as a listener, over to you. You have to mute yourself. So you are unmute yourself. No, you are still mute. No, sir. Go ahead.
Now it's okay?
Yeah.
Am I audible? Okay.
Correct. Yeah, please.
So now it is the time for testing the audience to what extent they have been listening to the various things, speeches and other things. The first one is, what was the two things that Deepa is using for fitness? Anyone?
Dumbbells.
And
Dumbbells.
yoga.
Pranayama, I think. Pranayama.
Yeah, pranayama. That is
Dumbbells and
kg
pranayama.
dumbbell.
Yeah.
Okay. How many kinds of fruits Vinu brought when his wife asked for 15 numbers?
Pineapple and
How many?
15.
one pineapple. Yeah, okay. Okay,
Three.
go ahead.
4 types. 4.
4 types.
12
know that
banana, pineapple,
The banana
custard
itself is
apple.
the banana itself is 12, and there are 3 other types. That's correct. Who is the famous footballer Adarsh Krishna was referring to today's?
Lukaku.
Good. What Varsha thought when she saw 60 to 70 people in the classroom?
Whole India's population.
India
Very
is
good. Overpopulated. That's very good. So what was the slogan of Abhishek Bachchan when Mayur was referring to his speech?
Walk while you talk.
Walk and talk.
Ah, yeah.
No.
Talk while
Exact
you walk.
phrase. No.
Talk while you walk.
Walk and talk.
No.
Talk and walk.
Walk the talk.
No. So it is walk over the talk.
Walk over the top.
Yeah.
Sir,
So
it is walk when you talk.
Walk
no,
when
no,
you-
no. It was walk over the talk. That's what
That is
Mayur has
Mayur.
referred.
That is Mayur only.
Where did Milanji visited the swimming pool?
Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Very good. Then, which one Toastmaster Sushma liked, indoor or outdoor?
Indoor.
Outdoor.
Whatever suits, because it requires physical activity.
Sushma liked indoor or outdoor?
Outdoor.
Outdoor, that's correct. So that is enough for today. I think the time is also running up. Over to you, Toastmaster Milanji.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joseph. I really appreciate your listening skill and recalling and even sharing it. And you even corrected the speaker also. That's a great job. Excellent. Kudos to you. Now for the general evaluation from my side. So can someone tell me, I have a question now. Who is the architect of this meeting?
Who is the
Mayur.
architect of this meeting?
Mayur. Adarsh.
Yeah, absolutely. The way Mayur has been handling this and meetings after meeting, because something which we can't, he's totally silent because the quality of meeting, 3 speakers, 3 evaluators, number of evaluators from outside, table topic master. So entire thing and how much thought process goes into it. He tries to even rotate the main role takers so that it becomes very interesting. So that thought process and execution of that is hats off to him. And of course, he's ably supported by every executive officer is there. He keeps on sharing his thought process, reaching out to people, getting. So that is something we have to highlight and bring it to notice of everyone. So please join me in welcoming, applauding Toastmaster Mayur, the VP Education, for conducting this. Because he was not taking any role except for speaker over here, but behind he had spent a lot of energy in making sure the quality of the meeting is great. So that is something. And then coming one by one, like starting with Zoom Master, taking 2 rows, 1 row on the fly. So that was also excellent by Toastmaster Akash. And then we had a essay. She also is very sincere when it comes to any role she takes, whether it's table topic master, Toastmaster of the day, maybe. So she makes sure she reaches out to the mentor, gets the information, takes the feedback, and then she delivers a performance which is really record, matching with the requirement. So that's great. So that is our essay, Sushma. Kudos to you. Then we had, of course, our presiding officer, the star performer, whatever she does, that energy, that dignity which she carries, that's very inspiring. And she also adds a lot of value to the meetings because she makes sure the quality of meeting is really good. And not to forget about our joke master, joke master who has been coming again and again and who has been making mockery of himself and sharing that with us as a joke. And how is she? And what I like about joke master Vinu is very simple topics and real life examples which he keeps on giving, which adds value and some mirth and laughter in our meeting. That was excellently done. And then coming to our table, Toastmaster of the day, Akash. Again, every good performance which is reflected is because of practice which goes behind. A lot of practice and planning goes. And that's what he also did. He had a theme and he made sure he reached out to every role taker, asked about the introduction and what is their take on fitness and sports. So that was beautifully done. And his passion when he was talking about his favorite sport, we could see to believe it. His smile, the way he was doing. So he was enjoying his role. So though I'm not aware of whether it's his maiden role or something, but he seems to be thoroughly enjoying it. So there was no iota of stress into his feeling that he's taking a new role or something. No. So he was really the sutradhar of this particular meeting and he performed it to his aplomb. So kudos to Toastmaster of the day, Akash. And then coming to our table topic master, Nilu. Is she there? Can I see her? Well, can you spotlight her? That will be great. That will be, thank you. What I liked about you was the background which you bought. So it seems consciously you had the theme in the background. So that's why you had a sports background. And then the topics also which you selected was something related to that. And it was very easy for everyone to share the topics. That's also very important. And most important thing when you are conducting any occasion, if you are yourself enjoying with your smile, that becomes much more enthralling and catchy. And that's what you had. So you were enjoying it. One of the Toastmasters had a challenge in that topic. So you very dignified, we changed the topic, encouraged him. So that is also very great role because ultimately you wanted him to succeed or her to succeed. And before you started, you gave a nice explanation of this. What is Toastmaster all about? And what is the table topic? Sorry. table topic and why you should be doing it. So that background and the time setting, so ground rules were shared. So that was fantastic. So kudos to table topic master, Toastmaster. So overall, I thoroughly enjoyed. So if there's a marking, I could give it to 8 out of 10. So of course, time is a challenge for us, but considering the quality which we had, it can be forgiven as far as the quality time is concerned, because 3 speeches with table topic, because quite often what we used to do, we used to have 3 speakers, plus we have listener, we have a joke master, we have additional events are there. So our performance is a full drama which we cover. So with 3 table speakers, we have this challenge, but it doesn't matter. So it can be forgiven. So with this, I hand it over to the Toastmaster today, Toastmaster Adarsh. Over to you.
Thank you very much, DT and Milind. It's been absolutely incredible today. All of us were able to come into this room today, in this virtual room, and we were able to talk about a particular topic that's very dear to me, which is sports and fitness. And I'm pretty confident that each of you have played a sport or performed a fitness activity at some time in your life, or are probably doing it right now as we speak. It's been an amazing event consisting of many opinions, and it's just brilliant overall. And I'd like to hand over the session to the President, Deepa Sampath Kumar.
Thank you, Adarsh. That was a brilliant, for the first time as team mod, you did fabulously well. A big round of applause to Adarsh. The speech weavers, I think the voting links are there in the chat box. Mayur has put it out. You can place your votes for the best role taker, speaker, evaluator, so that we can announce the results very soon. In the meantime, I have a few announcements to make. First of all, tomorrow is Saturday and day after is Sunday, which means we have another round of Coronation 2021 coming up. Tomorrow we have a bunch of events lined up. I think I'll just share the website with you. There you go. This is what is lined up. We have Around the World with Toastmasters, a panel discussion. We have a photography workshop. We have a model actress, Parvati Nair, joining with us as a speaker. We have Aditya Arora and a mentalist photographer, Arvind Jayashankar, joining us. Sunday, we have table topics contest. I mean, you have to be there. You are going to feel the adrenaline as they get the topic and how they attempt it. So if you are free from 2 o'clock, please join us with the links provided. I think we'll post it in the group. So you can join these two. That is my announcements. And I would request all the executive committee members to stay back for 5 minutes for a short discussion on when we can meet next. And Mayur, are the votes gathered?
Yes, Deepa, votes are gathered, and I am very in amazement that we had 17 people, but we are getting almost 22 plus votes. So if you have voted twice, whoever voted twice, please tell me, because today I don't have to ask. Otherwise, what I will do is remove those votes who have with exact timing, similar timing. That votes I will remove and announce the result. Is that okay, Deepa?
Okay, fine.
Okay. So just a minute.
Maybe the voting is the flavor of the day, so people are getting into rigging also here.
So every time I have to ask, please vote. So people have voted double, triple times.
No. I think we can probably get hold of another survey form, that which cannot be duplicated.
Let's close it. Doesn't matter. This time, whatever is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if someone gets failed.
Google Form has.
So meanwhile, you can take if you have any announcement to make, Deepa.
Okay, sure. I'll just take some feedback from our first time Table Topics Master Neelu. How did you find the experience? I know you've taken up speeches, but I'm not sure if you've taken Table Topics Master before. How was the experience?
Deepa, this was my first table topic role. And I'm actually very new to Toastmasters, and I've just finished my level 1. But it was an amazing experience with you all. Everybody did such a nice job. It's very nice to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Neelu. We enjoyed your topic, the way you carried out the segment. And let me head to Adarsh and ask him how he handled first time being table Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Deepa. I had a wonderful time being the Toastmaster of the day, and I got to share a very important topic that's very dear to me. And I believe that it's something that each and every one of them should do. I believe that everybody should go out and play. Probably not now because we're in the middle of a lockdown, but I'd suggest each and every one of you to take up an activity of your choice, and I want you to put it into action, and I want you to see for yourself how it can influence your life. Back to you, Deepa.
You were successful with me. I can assure you have one success case. And over to our counter, Priya. Thank you so much for joining Speech Weavers and adding so much value. Your excellent counter report. Can you share your experience? How did you feel today's meeting?
Thank you so much, Deepa, for giving me this opportunity. I thoroughly enjoyed the entire meeting, starting from the joke master when he had a poker face while sharing those interesting jokes, to the listener role that Toastmasters Joseph played. I thoroughly enjoyed all the speeches, all the table topics, and everything on this general evaluation report. I would love to come back again and again if time permits. Thank you so much, Deepa.
We would love to have you again, Priya. I think I just call on Varsha and talk to you about how you prepared for your icebreaker speech. How was the experience?
Oh, it was a nice experience. Initially, I thought I'll be like very nervous, but somehow I ended up doing it good. So.
Very well done, Varsha. I mean, that was a very good example of an icebreaker speech. Thank you so much for taking it up so soon and not delaying it any further. We were so happy to have you give your icebreaker.
Okay, so I have
so let
my
me go.
results
Yes,
ready.
Mayur.
So for the role takers list, everyone did a fantabulous job, and the result are here. And the best supporting role goes to Toastmaster Vinu for taking Joke Master. Congratulations, Vinu. And for the best role taker goes to Toastmaster DTM and General Evaluator Milind sir for taking General Evaluator role. Best speaker goes to our icebreaker speaker and first time speaker Toastmaster Varsha. Best evaluator goes to Toastmaster Vandana. Best auxiliary role goes to Toastmaster Priyadarshini. She took our counter, and best table topic goes to DTM Milind. That's it from my side. Over to you, Deepa.
Congratulations to all the winners and participants. We'll mail you your certificates very soon. You can post it in your social media handles and tag us. We are at Speech Weavers on Facebook. With that, we can conclude today's meeting. See you again next week, 5 o'clock Friday, and hope to have a delightful session. We're going to plan something exciting for you. We have decided that the next 2 months, May and June, are going to be extra special. We're going to change the format a little bit and make sure we have edutainment sessions. More on that next week. Until then, see you. Bye-bye.